theme, right? Mina mentioned the Ravens. Another team that hasn't gotten over the hump. Lamar, 3-5 in the playoffs. Never won multiple playoff games in a single season. And Ravens pass rusher Odafe Oweh was asked what it's going to take for Baltimore to reach the Super Bowl for the first time since 2012.
To be honest, I really do think it's a mental thing with us because honestly, our roster has been, superb these past 3 years. To be honest, we've had great rosters. Regular seasons, we've been dominant. We get the playoffs, and we kind of lose that edge, and for whatever reason. But to be honest, what we have to do is just take care of the football and cause turnovers. Our last game, we lost turnover about like 3-0. That's something that's big, and if we can just continue to be the type of defense that we are in a regular season, and realize that we are enough. Each individual player that we have is enough, and if we just play to our capabilities, do your 111th, we're gonna win. So. I feel like it really is a mental battle, So I feel like we do that and we win. We're hoisting the Lombardi.
They have not executed in the biggest games. Do you agree, Mina, a mental thing?
I don't know if it's mental, but I think the lack of execution, it's similar to, honestly, the way Marcus was talking about the Bills. Right. It really just is coming down to like a few plays in these biggest moments. And they sometimes are aberrations, Hannah, right? Last year in their playoff loss, Mark Andrews had maybe the worst game of his career in terms of the fumble and the drop. But Mark Andrews was spectacular in the second half of the last season. He was the best, arguably the best tight end in football statistically. So I'm not going to say Mark Andrews is the problem with this team. He was the problem in one game. I do think that they can do a better job to position themselves to get the 1 seed if the defense plays better than they did the first half of last season, which I expect that they will. But yeah, it really is these tiny, tiny moments that end up being the difference between making it to the Super Bowl and not.
Look, Lamar Jackson's won an MVP. Josh Allen's won an MVP. Baltimore's won divisions. Buffalo's won divisions. Mm-hmm. They've essentially been a challenger for Kansas City. Neither one has been able to break through in the postseason against the Kansas City Chiefs. So basically, it's Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid, and the rest of the cast in Kansas City that's prevented the Baltimore Ravens and Buffalo Bills from achieving what they have set out to do. It's almost like they're playing in an era where Michael Jordan was in the NBA, Hannah. You remember that very well. Yes. There were many great players, Patrick Ewing, others, that could not get their fair share of a championship. And it almost feels like the Ravens with Lamar and the Bills with Josh Allen are going through the same thing. One of them has to try to figure out a way to break through, make that play, whatever it may be. But the Chiefs stand in the way of the Ravens. That's been the problem right now in getting where they want to get.
Yeah, and Lamar hasn't played nearly as well as Allen, let's face it, in the playoffs. And, you mentioned Jordan. I mean, he had to go play baseball for a couple of years for the Rockets to sneak in those couple titles. Meanwhile, Oweh was also asked about the addition of Jaire Alexander. How does that help the Baltimore defense? Here's what he said.
Hey, more sacks. More sacks. That's all I said. I said, yes, sir. I'm excited to see what he can do. You guys do your job for us, and then when it comes down, when you need us, we'll beat our man before those under 3 seconds, and we'll all be happy. If they get interceptions, we get sacks. We're the best defense. That's all that matters.
Swagoo, they have the second most sacks in the NFL. How much will Alexander help that pass rush?
He'll help them tremendously. Great corners give you flexibility defensively. I've talked about this a number of times because you can play man-to-man and get exotic up front, especially on third down, which is critical in this league in order for you not only to win games, but to continue your offense when they're rolling. And we are expecting Lamar Jackson in this offense to roll most weeks than none. But when you think about last year with the Baltimore Ravens, the secondary was their Achilles heel. It cost them some opportunities. And like Mina just mentioned, the 1 seed potentially and going into the playoffs. We saw guys get beat. We saw miscommunication. And with that being said, they were still able to generate a good amount of pass rush. I think Jaire coming over, turning the football over a lot more or a little more would help this defense tremendously. But more importantly, like we've all talked about, when you get to the big game, it becomes about players. Mina has heard me say this 1,000 times. The plays are great and the scheme and what we're going to do, it's going to come down to individuals making plays. And it's something that Oweh alluded to, 1 of 11. Jaire Alexander is one of those guys that can change a football game if you mess around and find out going his way too many times.
Yeah, all first-round draft picks back there, all those starters in that secondary. He has just got to stay healthy, Swagoo. He's missed so much time. Well, Tight End University is wrapped up with every NFL tight end getting an invite and over 70 of them attending in Nashville. NFL Live was there on Tuesday. And the Cardinals' Trey McBride, second highest paid tight end in history, had this to say about his connection with his quarterback, Kyler Murray.
Travis, he would always give us the nuggets on be friendly to the quarterback, make sure you and your quarterback are on the same page, and he kind of plays with a little freedom. Him and Mahomes have this nice connection, and I kind of took that, and I'm like, why can't Kyler and I have that same connection? And I feel like that's what I've tried to do. I've tried to have that relationship, that growth with Kyler, and just continue to make plays for him and be that security blanket where if he needs somewhere to go with the ball, he always can throw it to me, and awesome. That's what I'm trying to do for him.
Mina, what's the potential there? Can McBride and Murray create a Mahomes-Kelce-ish connection?
Well, that's a lofty comp because that's arguably one of the best, quarterback tight end connections of all time. But I don't think it's an invalid comparison. And one thing that really jumps out to me, when I think about Travis Kelce, I think about beating zone coverage. 2020, 2022, 2023 led all tight ends in yards against zone coverage. Last year, that was Trey McBride above Travis Kelce. And I think that reflects his similar feel for space, his route running ability. He can stretch the field vertically. He's got great hands. So he is a quarterback-friendly target in the same mold. Where I think that relationship needs to take another leap to be more similar to Mahomes and Kelce is on extended plays. I looked this up. Last season, when Kyler Murray took more than 4 seconds to throw, Trey McBride only had 73 receiving yards. For a quarterback who has that ability to make plays on the move and extend, you would want to see more production with his number one target, who's Trey McBride. So I think that's an area where they can improve, Marcus, that connection when the play breaks down.
I love that, MK, because we've seen that improv from Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce for years now, and it really has led them to big plays to winning Super Bowls, not just games, Super Bowls. The other area I think they can improve in is red area and scoring touchdowns. And you see here on the graphic, it's 2 touchdowns last season for 111 receptions and 1,100 yards. Want to find the end zone a little bit more. Trey is a big body, a phenomenal route runner, very tough. Physicality after the catch is something that I attribute to him as well. But you got to find that end zone more to make that comparison more standard too when you think about what they are able to do in the red area especially. And I want to see offensively them get a little bit more creative as well with Trey McBride and moving him around and changing his launch points before the snap.
Yeah, and you're looking at Mahomes and Kelce. I mean, listen, as you said, Mina, it's really hard to make that comparison. Third all-time in yards of a quarterback, tight end duo, and, of course, multiple championships. So we will see.